Well, Hiddink is leaving us with two middle fingers raised high. I don't understand. I don't understand what we did to upset him so much, but clearly we did something wrong. As fans, as the club, I don't know what we did to Hiddink to cause him to leave on such a poor note. But obviously he's upset about something. I mean, why else would he start Mikel and Baba in defense? And then when that actually somehow doesn't backfire, it doesn't necessarily work because Liverpool is constantly at us, but somehow we don't give up a goal. We're up 1-0, and then in the last minute and a half of the game, when they equalize, he goes, "Oh yeah, I've got one more sub. That might have helped. Oh well, fuck you guys." I don't even normally do that, but I mean, it's upsetting. It's pissing me off. What on earth are you thinking that you wouldn't just make another sub? It's bad enough to see Mikel and Baba in defense together on the same side. You okay? Liverpool make a sub. That Oho kid, whoever he is, I don't know who he is. He came on and changed the game. Not because he's talented. He doesn't have that much skill. He's got some pace. But you know why he changed the game? Fresh legs. That's all he had. He had fresh legs, and that's what changed the game for Liverpool. He was out wide, taking it down the line. Spilicueta's tired, crosses it in. He's got fresh legs. And Begovic, I don't know what he's doing, but that's what changes the game. Sometimes you don't need to have skill out there. You just need to have fresh legs. You've made two subs. You're up one goal. Make another sub. Hazard and Pedro are both worn out from all the running they've done today. Make a sub. Change it. Change it up. Get some fresh legs out there. Get somebody else who can defend. We've got a young defender out there, Tomori. Get him in there somehow. Not necessarily in defense, because you don't like to change. You know, it's not a good idea to change the defense in the middle of the game. But get him out there somehow. You know, I don't care how. Just get fresh legs out there. It's so frustrating to see us drop another 2 points. And the thing is, yes, Mourinho and the players that sort of didn't want to play for Mourinho, all of that stuff happened in the first half of the season. They're to blame for the poor season we had, without a doubt. Hiddink, though, is to blame for the fact that we didn't salvage anything from this season. When you look at the FA Cup, we easily could have won that. We lost to Everton. When you look at the Champions League, we got knocked out by PSG. I mean, come on. They end up getting beat by Man City in the next round. Man City, who's having a terrible year. You look at our season right now. How many points have we dropped since Hiddink's taken over? Yeah, we've only lost, 3 times? Once to Swansea and once to Sunderland. Hello? There's an issue here. He's got issues. I'm so glad that he's gone. He's leaving. Next game is his last game. Done, thank goodness, because we could have salvaged something from the season, and his love for Mikel, his inability to really be confident, take a risky step that may change the game. Let's just play it safe, guys, okay? We're up by 1 goal. Let's just, we don't want to change the system right now. I know you guys are tired, but we don't want to change anything right now. Let's just keep it how... Oh, crap, they equalized. Well, let's go ahead and get somebody in then. No. This is not the first time that he's made a poor sub. I mean, the past 2 games, we've gone down a goal. I think... Is that how it worked? No. He did it against Sunderland, he did it against Swansea. We went down a goal, and then he brought on Traore to add another striker. It's too late. They've already bunkered in. We should have had somebody else out there before then, but I don't know. I don't get why Hiddink does what he does, but either way, that's my frustration on Hiddink. The one good thing he did do, though, is play Traore and then bring on Abraham over Pato, because I don't think Pato's going to be there next year. We brought him on as kind of a backup because Costa was injured for a while. So, same for Falcao. But that was probably the only really good thing Hiddink did today was making that, bringing on Abraham instead of Pato. But yeah, other than that, several stupid decisions. But overall, I mean, up until that last minute and a half, I was fairly happy with the game. They were getting chances, but Liverpool made kind of a dumb decision when they moved. I don't know why, but the very first minute of the game, Sturridge takes on Mikel, beats him with pace. Mikel does his, oh, I'm just going to stand and kick a leg out thing, and gets a foul right on the corner of the box. I'm thinking, crap, he's just going to tear him up all night. Mikel's not going to be. He switched over to the other side. Liverpool had nothing going forward. I mean, obviously they've got talent in Firmino, Coutinho, they've got speed in Sturridge and Moreno, and they've got strength in Chan and Milner. But realistically, the fact that Sturridge was on our left side now, taking on Azpilicueta, really helped us. And that's why they really didn't get a whole lot of clear-cut chances. The chances they were getting were from outside the box, plenty of time for Begovic to make the save. And, we have Hazard, we have Pedro, Willian, we have Traore going forward. All of them were playing really well tonight, really getting chances. Willian, not as effective as he normally is, but I would say better than our loss against Sunderland. So yeah, it was very curious to see that Liverpool changed it up like that and made it easier for us to play. But honestly, it was a good game for us up until that last minute and a half. When everybody's tired and mistakes are being made, and Liverpool has fresh legs where we don't. So overall, if you cut out the last minute and a half, I would say better. I did enjoy watching moments of this game. It felt pretty much like if you just watched the first half of the Sunderland game, same thing. It was good. Got 2 goals, played pretty well, and then all of a sudden, second half, changes aren't made that should have been made, and then all of a sudden everything falls apart and lose the game. So, yeah, that's about all I can say for the team in general. Going a bit more individual, I thought Begovic, up until that last moment, had a good game. He was making good saves, he was putting himself in the right positions. It was very weird that the entire game he's doing well. And the thing is, most of the time, if a keeper has a slow game where he's not getting a whole lot of shots, and then all of a sudden one comes in that he has to be tested for, yeah, I can see a mistake being made there because you've done pretty much nothing the whole game, and then this comes out of nowhere. I can see a mistake being made because you're a bit rusty, you're a bit cold, you haven't been playing the whole game. Begovic was taking shots the entire game. So to see him make that mistake despite the fact that he was constantly being tested the entire game, is a bit frustrating. You could have done more. You could have poked it instead of trying to slap it. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know why he doesn't move his feet a bit more, but it ends up, unfortunately, that ends up costing us the win. And probably not, because this seems to only work for certain people at Chelsea, but Matt Miazga makes one mistake, and not even on the bench today, and Mikel's playing in defense. So I'm going to be curious if Courtois is still sick next week, if Begovic is still going to get the start. Probably, just because for some reason people are more critical of certain players over others. Like when Mikel causes 3 goals in 2 games, nobody bats an eye. But Matt Miazga heads it, and then a guy volleys it from the top of the box. Everybody loses their minds. It's a joke. Anyway, no, but Begovic, overall, pretty good game up until the mistake at the end. Azpilicueta, fairly good game. I thought better than last week, I think. He's just been so sporadic recently. Under Hiddink. Under Mourinho, he was one of our few consistent players. Him, Willian, and then I would say Terry, maybe. Terry wasn't to blame for most of the first half of the season. He did his best. But yeah, he was more consistent under Mourinho. Under Hiddink, he's just been running around way too sporadic, very shaky defensively, so today was a bit better for him. Cahill, solid. Mikel, God. I don't want to go too far into detail about Mikel because I feel like the past 3 videos I've spent at least 2 minutes raging about Mikel. I'll just say he gave me heart palpitations today between the diving into challenges, between the terrible back passes, between just kicking the ball out of bounds. It's scary to watch him play, especially when he's in your defense. He's the last defender. I need heart medication after this game. Bava just still not good enough. Has a couple moments every now and then where he defends well or makes a good pass, and then has these moments where he's just bodied off the ball way too easily, where he's terrible pass, getting beat on speed whenever speed should be the one thing he's good at. He's too inconsistent as a defender. I don't want him on my team. I'd rather have Ake, who has been consistently playing well at Watford. I'd rather have him back there. So maybe they'll look at that. Who knows? Up into midfield, Fabregas not as effective with his long balls because I think Costa reads that better than Traore does. So with a different striker, it doesn't work as well. Same thing happened whenever Pato played there for a couple of games. They just don't connect as well as Fabregas and Costa do. But I thought he did work very hard today, so that was nice to see. Matic, pretty good game. I would say defensively, very good game. Offensively, had a few weird passes that I'm just like, what are you doing? But, passing's not exactly what he's out there for. He's out there to win the ball back, which he does consistently. In fact, most of the time we ended up with a back five, really, because he's back there defending where Mikel is not. So, it's just nice to see him in because Hiddink constantly left him out for several weeks. It's nice to see him back into the side and doing what he's there to do, defending. Up into attacking mid, Hazard. Still want to sell him, people? That's all I can think after that goal. Just takes on like 5 people, beats them all, finds the back corner. I'm like, yeah, we should totally sell him. It's so stupid that he's got one bad year. Let's sell him. No, give him a chance to prove himself. He's doing it now. And I'm so glad that he's doing it now and not, it would have been bad if he waited until next season to step back into it. So the entire summer people were like, why aren't Hazard gone? And blah, blah. Now, hopefully that can shut up a lot of the critics that he's had recently. Yes, he's had a very poor season overall, especially compared to last season. I'm not saying he's completely not at fault for our poor season. He obviously had a big part of it. However, look at him. I mean, he's tearing it up right now. This is what he can do. Why would you not want to have that on your team? Unless he is constantly talking bad about the club and the fans, which he's not, you want him on your team. Let's keep him. Willian, like I said, better today. I thought he's had a few poor games recently, namely against Man City, against Swansea, against Sunderland, our 3 losses. He was really, really ineffective. No, not against Swansea. Keep forgetting. Swansea is the game where Willian and Pedro were the only 2 playing well, and they took him off. But against Man City and against Sunderland, the other 2 losses, very poor. Just bad passes, not really getting back and helping defend. I thought today he did better with his passing. He's still got his speed, he's still got his dribbling, but the passing is where I want him to perform more because that's kind of Chelsea's game. You get it up there, you've got Hazard, you've got William, you've got Oscar, you've got Pedro, you've got even Costa and Traore can do it. Just these little boom 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 passes. Just quick. I love Fabregas' goal from last season. I can't remember who was against, but just the into Hazard back out, into Oscar back out, into Oscar back out, and then he's through on goal and just passes it in. It was so sweet to watch. And that's the type of play that they are very good at. And that's the type of play that I come to expect. So to have a player like Willian, whose short passing has been very inconsistent recently, it makes me worried. I hope he can get back that, because he was doing it very well first half of the season. I want him to get back to that. I want him to get back to the player he was back then, because everybody else has stepped it up, and Willian's kind of just dropped a little bit. Um, Pedro, I thought he's a good player whenever he's on, but there are times when you can just see he's not on. Hazard sends the ball across, and he's so, I don't know, his touch isn't that great when it comes to long balls. For sometimes, he's so sporadic. Um, Hazard sends a ball across, and it almost like bounces up and hits him in the arm because he just can't get it under control, and then he proceeds to hit a nice long ball across to Hazard. So I don't know what to think of Pedro. I think at times he plays well, at times he's just scary to watch, sending back bad passes. Ended up getting Aspilicueta booked because he sent a poor pass back to him. Coutinho is through if Aspilicueta doesn't foul him. So, yeah, I don't know. I would rather have somebody else out there other than Pedro, like Kennedy or Willian or Hazard. Um, so yeah, overall fairly good game. Just still not what I expect. Traore, I thought, showed some good stuff. There were a couple moments where he just quickly gets the ball out. He's surrounded by three defenders and quick touch and he's out and he's got a shot on goal. Little moments like that make me think he's got a lot of quality. But then there are times whenever he's going up 1-on-1 against Torre and he just gets manhandled. He can't. He's still not strong enough yet. If it's Costa out there, Costa's the one doing the manhandling. So Traore, he's a good player. He's got speed. He's got quick feet, but he needs to get stronger. He needs to, if he wants to be that lone striker. Now, as a wing, I could totally see him as a wing. In fact, one game they did play him as a wing. I thought that was his best position, to be honest. But if he wants to be that lone striker, he needs to get stronger. Subs, who came on first? Kennedy came on for Willian. They're saying Willian looked like he may have a bit of an injury. I really like Kennedy. He is a good player. He's quick. He's got quick feet. He fights hard. That tackle he put in on Allen at the end, that's the type of stuff I like to see out of a player, especially a young player like that. I love to see that fight, that willingness to go into a challenge and win the ball. It's nice to see. So I want to see more of him. I would like to see him incorporated a lot more into the team. Abraham came on, like I said, smart move by Hiddink to see Abraham and not Pato. They also said Conte wanted to see more of the youngsters, so I think that also had something to do with it. He looks pretty good. I'm not sure how old he is. I think he's either 17 or 18. But first of all, the kid is big. Colatore is not that tall compared to most defenders. So obviously he's taller than Colatore, but he went up against Lovren or against Chan, I think it was. And Chan's a big guy too, and he's about the same size as Chan. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. It reminds me of Lukaku. Whenever Lukaku is coming up, and you just see him, he's 19 and he's bigger than pretty much almost every defender out there. All you can think is, I want to see more of this kid. This is similar stuff. I want to see more of Abraham. He did fairly well. There are a couple moments where I actually thought, if you just play the ball in, he's there. I'm not sure if he's going to score because he didn't really get a shot off, but he put himself in good positions. They just weren't looking for him, I don't think. And there were a couple moments, he had that one little move that he managed to get the ball out from under his feet and away from the defenders. I'm like, okay, he's got some feet on him too. That's good to see. So yeah, I do want to see more of him. I would like to see him, if Costa's still hurt next game, possibly see him up top. Maybe starting up top. That would be interesting. But and then finally, like I said, Loftus-Cheek came on after they scored the goal with a minute left. It just felt like a middle finger to all of us. Oh, I could have made this change earlier. In fact, he did this before, too. He was talking about how Loftus-Cheek, whenever he first came in, he was talking about how he's going to have a better role. He had a role set for him. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I want to see more of this kid. I want to see more of what he can do. And then I think it was the third game that he was in charge. Or no. It was one of the ties. It was one of our first few ties that we had under Hiddink. because we started off with like 4 and 5 games. It was near the end of the game. It was like a minute left, and it was a tie. They had equalized pretty late in the game, and he brought on Loftus-Cheek with like 2 minutes left in stoppage time. It felt like a middle finger to him and to us. It's just like, oh yeah, I could have brought him on earlier, but and this felt like the same thing. You could have brought him on just for fresh legs, as somebody that can defend well. We got a bigger body in the box, something to help out, and you're going to throw him on after they equalize with a minute left in stoppage time. It just felt worthless. It felt like just middle finger to everybody. So, very frustrating, but who knows, now that officially we have nothing at all to play for, after, what is that, we've gone on like a five games, no, 6 games and 1 win recently. That should tell you something. But I mean, we had Europa to play for. Honestly, if you look back at how many points we dropped under Hiddink, we could probably be in a Champions League spot right now. So it just kind of proves that Hiddink sort of wasted our chance to get anything out of this season at all. We did have a chance. People were saying, oh, Chelsea's season is done. It was not done. We were still in the FA Cup. We were still in the Champions League. Still, the table was fairly close. We put together a run of like 3 wins and 8 ties, and that brought us up to the top half of the table. That should tell you something. Whenever you've only got 3 wins in 8 games or something like that, and you still manage to get to the top half of the table, that should tell you how close it is. If we had started winning more, if he had taken some chances, if he hadn't played Mikel so much, we could have gotten something out of this season. But as it stands, we're mid-table, got knocked out of everything, well before we should have, and now I'm just frustrated, and I'm ready to see him go. A lot of people were saying, oh, well, he turned our season around, brought us up to the top half of the table, we didn't get relegated. Thank you, Hiddink. I'm saying, no, I hate you, Hiddink. You suck. I don't hate him, but I don't like him. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this game. Let me know what you thought down below. What do you want to see in our last game? I think we've got Leicester at home, so since we've already, we're playing the team that's already won the league, we've got nothing else to play for, just pride, really. What would you like to see Hiddink do? What players would you like to see play? Me personally, just really quick before I end the video, I'd love to see, obviously similar back line, except maybe throw on, you got Jake Clark-Salter, who I heard is pretty good. You've still got Matt Miazga. No Mikel, please. Just no Mikel. Why? No Mikel. No Mikel. Please, Hiddink. Please, somebody, if you watch this and you're still watching, please somebody send this video to Chelsea. Be like, hey, this guy doesn't want Mikel out there. Please don't put Mikel. I'm going to start something on Twitter. Just, no Mikel. Anyway, but defensively we don't have a lot of options, but I would like to see one of our younger defenders get a chance, whether it's Tomori, whether it's Jake Clark-Salter, although I think Clark-Salter was injured. That's why he didn't play today. I don't know what happened to Miazga, but if he's not injured, let's get him back out there. Don't punish him for one mistake that wasn't even really fully his mistake. Up into the midfield, love to see, Loftus-Cheek and Kennedy get to play. Casey Palmer, he was on the bench today. I've heard some good stuff about him. I would like to see him get a chance as well. And then finally, Tammy Abraham. Obviously, Traore is also a good option to have too. But I don't necessarily want to see the first team not get a chance to play, especially because we're at home. But at the same time, if you got some players that maybe aren't feeling up to their 100%, if Willian's still hurting with whatever today, if Costa's still not fully recovered from hamstring, if Hazard is tired, if Pedro's tired from today, just give them a break. Let these youngsters play. Our youth team has won the UEFA 2 years in a row. They've won the Youth FA Cup 2 years in a row, I think, or 3 years in a row, something like that. Give them a chance. Let's see them. Let's see them in action against top players. If they are the top youth players we have, let's see them play against better players, especially against Leicester too. Even if we lose, okay, it's Leicester. They are the champions. They deserve it. It's not like we're losing against Liverpool. That's different, completely different. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on today's game. Leave a like and subscribe for the final of this season, Chelsea. Woo! I'll see you guys at the last game. Peace out.